Great. So we will get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the first of two Diversity Recruitment Fair sessions in support of the Equity and Diversity Collaborative. My name is Jackie O'Connor. I work for the City of Mississauga's Economic Development Office. And joining me today is my colleague from the Healthcare Businesswomen's Association, Lily McNeil. Together, we will act as your hosts. I will begin by introducing our session, and then I'll pass things over to Lily, who will introduce our speakers and lead us through a series of short 10-minute presentations from each organization. Following the presentations and before closing out the session at noon, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. There we go. Sorry about the delay. First, I would like to begin by acknowledging the treaty and traditional territory of the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. The City of Mississauga is located in the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat. The City of Mississauga is within treaties 14, 19, 22, and 23. While we meet today on a virtual platform, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we all call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. You are invited to participate today in the event because of your company's involvement in the Equity and Diversity Collaborative. I want to take a moment to share a few details with you on this initiative. Organizations are increasingly evaluating their cultures and practices concerning equity, diversity, and inclusion, and they're becoming more intentional and committed to advancing change. Really, this is no surprise. Striving towards greater gender equity and diversity in the workplace is not only the right thing to do from a moral perspective, but it can lead to better business results, more innovation, and higher employee retention. Earlier this year, your companies made a commitment to work together to accelerate change and drive greater gender equity and diversity in their workplaces. It was their commitment and leadership that led to the creation of the Equity and Diversity Collaborative. Our 17 founding member organizations are working towards a goal of gender parity and significant representation of other underrepresented groups across their organizations and on their boards. The collaborative serves as a forum for companies to connect, share best practices, and learn from one another. Working together through industry-wide collaboration has proven to be successful elsewhere, leading to faster change and greater impact. At the beginning of the year, the collaborative sets a strategic direction and determines its priorities. This year, the group chose to focus on improving recruitment, hiring, and promotion practices. Then, throughout the year, a group of company ambassadors meets, and over a series of workshops designed as sprints, we take a deep dive into these identified priorities and share and create solutions to implement within the workplace. The City of Mississauga and HBA play a facilitating role for this group, and we organize various events and activities, such as this one, to support our members' efforts. This leads us to our session today. A recent labor market intelligence report published by BioTalent Canada in October highlights that despite existing efforts, workforce diversity in the life sciences sector remains low, and there's an opportunity to improve diversity through recruitment. This year, as I mentioned, one of the Equity and Diversity Collaborative goals was to attract more diverse candidates. Several different tactics were identified to help achieve this goal, including leveraging new recruitment channels to reach a broader and more diverse pool of candidates. Often, companies rely on personal contacts, employee referrals, and job boards during the recruitment process, resulting in missed opportunities to reach more diverse candidates. Many organizations can assist, but it is challenging for companies, especially smaller ones, to stay informed. We've arranged for this Diversity Recruitment Fair to create an opportunity for our members to learn more about these organizations that support underrepresented groups and can help with recruitment and hiring or education and awareness training. Hopefully, these sessions will lead to new learnings and new connections. I'd now like to pass things over to my colleague Lily, who will lead us through the remainder of today's event.
Thanks, Jackie. Before we get into the presentations, I just want to go over a few more housekeeping notes. And then we have 4 great organizations that we're going to hear from today, and I'll begin by introducing those speakers in a second. So from a housekeeping perspective, just wanted to remind you again that we'll be listening to 4 10-minute presentations from each of our speakers that have joined us here today. And then that's going to be followed by a 25-minute Q&A session. So with the Q&A session, I invite you to submit any questions you have while the presentations are taking place. Send them directly to me, Lily, in the chat, and then I will be pulling those forward for our panel during that 25-minute discussion. And then the final note is that we do have closed captioning enabled, so you can access that from the bottom left-hand side of your screen. And if you have any questions or trouble enabling that, please just also text me directly and we can help troubleshoot that. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Cameron Mosier. He is the Director of Services and Program Development at Acces Employment. And I'm going to give him a second to just bring up his presentation, but I want to tell you a little bit about Cameron. Cameron Mosier has worked for over a decade to improve the settlement and integration experience of Canadian immigrants. He currently oversees a wide portfolio at Acces Employment with a focus on pre-arrival employment services, supporting internationally educated healthcare professionals, career transitions, and incorporating data and evidence into practice through research-integrated employment programming. It's our pleasure to welcome him today, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to him to present.
Thank you so much, Lily. I appreciate that kind introduction. It's a real pleasure to be here today with all of you. I want to share with you a little bit about my experience with supporting life sciences employers through Acces Employment, as well as to help you understand a little bit more about the types of services that are available more broadly in the community that support internationally trained professionals and others in being able to use their skills most effectively in the Canadian labor market. So Acces Employment is a full-service employment services agency that supports job seekers in making connections with employers. We have a real vision of building a fully inclusive labor force that reflects the diversity, skills, and experience of Canada's population. And we've been doing that for more than 3 decades. We now are serving people around the world through a wide variety of programs with a special focus on the GTA in the province of Ontario. We serve a very, very wide range of job seekers. The large majority of them are newcomers to Canada, about 79%. The large majority of them are also quite educated, with about 73% having a post-secondary education and over 40% having a postgraduate education. And they come from a really, really wide range of industries and sectors. They bring to us a huge amount of talent and skills, and we take it very seriously in being able to support them and putting those talent and skills to use in helping businesses such as yours meet their talent needs. To serve those individuals, we offer a huge range of services. So I've just got a snapshot here. I'm not going to go through every single thing in detail here. But our goal is to work with the funders and the sponsors that we work with to make sure that they're highly targeted programs that serve skilled individuals, as well as individuals just getting into the labor market sometimes for the first time. We know that making those programs targeted, involving industry in those programs from the beginning, in defining what the learning outcomes of those programs might be, and incorporating regular feedback from our employer partners. We know that those are all really critical elements to bridging the gaps that are going to get people into really high quality employment. Some of our sector-specific programs that might be interesting to you are our Cybersecurity Connections program, our Healthcare Connections program, our Human Resources Connection program, Sales and Marketing Connections, Supply Chain Connections, a really, really wide range of sector-specific programs that support individuals in getting into quality employment. Another thing that is a very interesting component of the services that we offer, and I'm very proud to have in my portfolio as a director at Acces Employment, is our pre-arrival programs. These programs serve individuals who have been approved to land in Canada, but haven't yet landed. And what we help them with is to get job ready and to connect with employers prior to landing. The employers that we work with widely in these programs really get to take advantage of a pool of individuals who haven't yet decided where they're going to land in Canada or what they might do, but are really, really highly motivated to engage with employers prior to landing. And a lot of the changes that have come about in hiring practices during the pandemic have opened up additional opportunities within pre-arrival programs for employers to basically get a first stab at really, really highly skilled individuals before they land. The programs that we serve produce results. Last year, we served over 40,000 job seekers. 83% of those found employment or achieved their training objectives. That number is usually higher for us. During COVID, of course, there was some particular struggles there. Wanted to bring up a success story we had from our Healthcare Connections program here. Here you see Hesham Abdelhadi, who's now a clinical coordinator at UHN. Hesham was an internationally trained doctor from Egypt. While he's going through his licensure, he went through our Healthcare Connections program, and he's able to move directly into a clinical coordinator position that was in response to COVID in helping coordinate the clinical operations at UHN involving different stakeholders, including pharma, including community organizations, including health organizations, in responding most effectively to COVID. I've got I asked a lot of our teams who work in sector-specific services to put together some lists of the clients who we've been able to support in getting into life sciences organizations such as yours. And you'll see from some of the samples up here on your screen that through the wide range of sector-specific programs that we have been able to support life sciences organizations in getting access to talent in all kinds of different areas, from HR functions such as an HR generalist or a talent acquisition specialist, to IT functions and data analysis and a senior full stack developer, into direct work with pharmacovigilance and documentation, some real success in the ability to engage people in global portfolios as well. The global portfolio manager, in that a supply chain manager, as well as people who are working in global API. And we do that, of course, we're able to have that success. We've got the training that we're specialized in, but all of that success in helping place people in employment that works for them comes because we build relationships with employers such as yourself. So we work with over 2,500 different employers. The large majority of those are small businesses, of course, because in the economy, that's the economy that we have. But we also have skills and expertise in working with medium, very large and multinational organizations and helping them meet their talent acquisition needs by expanding their talent acquisition channels with internationally trained professionals. Some of the employers who have in the life sciences sector who have employed individuals from our programs in the last year and a half or so, you'll see up on our screen here with Alerca Health, Apotex, Clienta, Life Labs, Dynacare, Therapure, University of Toronto, IQVA, Takeda, wide range of employers within the life sciences sector who have really worked with us on placing people in jobs that are going to be a great advantage to those employers and that are going to start great Canadian careers for our clients. One other thing that we love to do with employers is provide opportunities for networking and mentoring and volunteering. So of all of the employers that we work with, one of the things that we ask after being able to work with you on your talent acquisition needs is, what kind of ways are you interested in getting in your staff engaged in things that support others in getting into gainful employment? And one of the most impactful things we do within that is networking. So we work with mentors, volunteers, and networking opportunities with hundreds of companies a year. And they devote their time to just sitting down into quick sessions where they can share some of their knowledge and expertise with the clients that we're serving. And that makes a huge difference because we're experts in employment, but we're not experts, of course, in life sciences or healthcare or pharma or sales and marketing. So sometimes that brief connection can really spark something that makes a big difference in people's lives. Those mentoring opportunities come through our speed mentoring programs, our speed mentoring en français programs, where we serve bilingual francophone newcomers, through our participation in the TRIAC mentoring partnership, as well as through our participation in the Connector program, which is another very interesting and innovative way for professionals to help others in getting into their field. We're able to do all this work with the support of a large number of sponsors who you'll see up on the screen here. We do a lot of work with Accenture and BDC, BMO, RBC, TD, banks, and technology firms. But most of the work, almost all of the work that we do comes with work with funders whose job it is to go out there and help the Canadian economy produce the results that it needs for individuals and communities. And so we're always grateful for the support of the Government of Canada, the Province of Ontario, and all of the work that they do in funding the programs that we serve to help you and help our clients connect with each other so that you can find fruitful ways to engage. And that's all that I have for you today. So I look forward later to being able to answer any questions that you have and being able to share anything else that might help you.
Great. Thanks, Cameron. Really appreciate that. All right. Next up, we're going to hear from about Ready, Willing, and Able, and it's my pleasure to introduce Kristen Stokel. Kristen Stokel is a labor market facilitator for the Ready, Willing, and Able Inclusive Hiring Initiative in Ontario, which is run jointly by Carey's Place Autism Services and Community Living Ontario. Kristen has worked for Carey's Place for 3 years, having gained experience as a behavior therapist and job coach before joining RWA in April 2021. In her current role, she helps employers see the benefits of inclusive hiring and helps connect job seekers to opportunities in their community. Kristen, over to you.
Hi, thank you. I will share my screen here. All right, and you should be seeing my screen, like full screen now, so if that's not happening, let me know, but I'm assuming it's working okay now. Yes, Lily, thank you so much for the introduction. It's an honor to be here among a great group of panelists. I've already learned a lot so far, and I'm looking forward to hearing the other presentations as well. And as it has been mentioned, I'm happy to answer any questions about RWA or inclusive hiring when it comes to the question period. All right. So as Lily mentioned, I'm a labor market facilitator with the Ready, Willing, and Able initiative, and I work for Carey's Place Autism Services. So to kind of go over what RWA is, so we're a national initiative of Inclusion Canada and the Canadian Autism Spectrum Disorders Alliance and their member organizations. So we do exist actually across Canada in every province and territory, and then we are run locally by different member organizations. And so in Ontario, it's Community Living Ontario and Carey's Place. And so what we do, so we're completely funded by the Government of Canada through the Opportunities Fund for Persons with Disabilities, and we strive to increase the labor force participation of people on the autism spectrum and or with intellectual disability. And so we focus on these two specific disability groups because of all the disability types, those on the spectrum and those with intellectual disability are the most underemployed. So that's why our focus is on these individuals. So our vision. So our overall vision is to connect and support employers, people on the autism spectrum and or with an intellectual disability, and community agencies. We want to promote awareness among employers and the general public on the benefits of hiring inclusively. And we want to complement and enhance existing recruitment and HR practices to provide wraparound supports, ongoing communication, and access to the RWA talent pool. So how we actually work. So RWA primarily provides support to businesses. So we want to help businesses enhance their capacity to hire inclusively and to retain employees who may have neurodiversity or intellectual disability. So we can do that in many different ways through one-to-one consultation, group-based trainings, providing resources, truly anything that the business needs to feel confident in inclusive hiring, we want to be there for. And so, as I mentioned, we also provide access to a candidate pool. And so we do this through partnerships with community agencies. So we work with agencies who are providing direct support to individuals on the autism spectrum or intellectual disability to improve their employment readiness skills and to provide job coaching when they actually do get employed. So while the community agency partners are providing support to the candidate or the employee, we're providing support to the business to try to make any opportunity to as likely as possible to be successful. And so how our process works. So we go out and we want to create demand with employers. So we speak to employers like yourselves to figure out, what is your hiring need? Where are you maybe experiencing hiring gaps? And also, how confident do you feel in inclusive hiring? And we want to provide, again, that consultation to try to go through the hiring process that you have to ensure that there aren't any barriers that unintentionally exist through your application process, through your interviewing, again, to make it as likely as possible that those with disabilities could be successful in the roles that you have. And I want to emphasize too that we're not looking to create, special roles for special people. We really want to actually meet the hiring need that you have. So once we figure out, what kind of hiring need that you have, we want to connect this demand to agencies. So we're able to share your job postings through a wide network of supporting agencies in Toronto and the GTA who are able to put forward candidates for your positions. We are then able to facilitate the hiring process. So whether, again, that looks like looking at an overview of your hiring process and offering guidance on making it just generally more inclusive, or we're able to provide guidance on, say, providing specific accommodations for the individuals who come forward with their application. If someone requests a certain accommodation that you're not sure how to implement, we could be there to provide that guidance. And then we're able to provide ongoing support. So if you're able to, hire someone from the RWA network, we could provide guidance and support on making sure that that person is successful in their role. And if any issues come up, we're able to, again, provide that guidance, that one-to-one meeting to make sure that you feel confident in supporting the person that you've hired. We're also looking to maintain a long-term relationship with our employers. So we would love to, continue that relationship where we can provide that guidance on inclusive hiring and also share the job postings you may have with our network. So to go more into detail about the things that we can provide, and this is not an exhaustive list. Again, I want to emphasize that we are here for you, and everything that we do is free of cost because we are fully funded by the federal government. So some examples of things we can do. So pre-hire support, which could involve exploration of unique labor needs, recruitment and interview accommodations, enhancement of existing HR practices. We provide knowledge through custom education, training, and workshops. We share the business benefits of inclusive hiring and business-to-business peer experiences. So we are able to partner you with businesses who are willing to participate, who have worked with us and could speak to their experience. And then consultation on inclusive HR practices. We provide access to a wide talent pool of qualified candidates to meet your labor needs. And then, as I mentioned, that ongoing collaboration through regular contact to support your business and new employee, and essential on-the-job supports through all the steps of onboarding and beyond. And a big part that I want to emphasize here is that all of our candidates who we put forward for positions are supported by a community agency. So if they need on-the-job supports, we're able to, get their community agency to step in to provide that job coaching support, in person in the workplace if that's what is required. And I wanted to highlight a specific success story. We have success stories on our website, and one that I thought was relevant was one through Bell Pro Medical. So Bell Pro Medical was founded in 1996 and is a family-owned company specializing in the manufacturing and distribution of products mainly intended for the healthcare market. To date, 2 employees referred by RWA are employed in the company out of a total of 23 employees. The manager concluded by mentioning that hiring candidates with autism or an intellectual disability was a great decision for her company, and hiring via RWA with support from local employment agencies made the process very smooth, straightforward, and successful. She indicated that she would be very willing to hire again through RWA if and when the opportunity arises. Her advice for other employers who would like to hire in an inclusive way is to focus on openness and flexibility. And I completely agree that the biggest thing that we ask from the employers that we work with is to just be open to learning and be open to being flexible in the processes that you have, because truly having that flexibility and that willingness to provide accommodations can make a world of difference. And when the slides are shared out, you could click the link to read the full article, as well as the other success stories that we have on our website. So I also just wanted to review some of the facts. This is data that was based in research from our phase 1 of the project, which began in 2014. And we wanted to highlight the actual business benefits of hiring inclusively. So we found that 88% of businesses rated RWA employees as well or better than average on contributing to the firm's profit margin. 76% of businesses rated RWA employees as well or better than average on productivity. And compared to their colleagues, 94% of RWA employees rated better than average on punctuality, and 95% of those rated better than average on attendance and use of sick days. Businesses rated employees hired through RWA as well as or better than average on their contribution toward a positive workplace morale, so 99% said that. Their attitude towards work, 99% said that. And getting along with clients or customers, and 90% of our businesses reported that. A diverse workforce brings different perspectives and gives businesses an innovation advantage. So we found that 73% of businesses who have hired through RWA reported receiving positive feedback from customers and clients regarding their commitment to inclusion. 2 out of 3 businesses who have hired through RWA reported that they would consider hiring again through RWA within the next 12 months. And 92% of businesses rated their overall experience with RWA as good or excellent. So, we have a great track record with our employers who have been very happy with working with us to fill a variety of roles. So we would be happy to partner. So feel free to reach out to me anytime for more information. And again, I'll be happy to answer any questions during the question period. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristen, for sharing that. All right, our next speaker joins us from Magnet, Luke Nixon Jansen. It's my pleasure to welcome you as our next presenter. And first, a little bit about Luke. So Luke is a sales and marketing leader with 15 years of experience working for multinational companies, including Marriott International and the Ritz-Carlton Hotels and Resorts. After COVID-19 disrupted the tourism industry, Luke brought his experience to Magnet, a social innovation platform at Ryerson University, where he serves as Director of Marketing and Business Development. Upon joining Magnet, Luke quickly built a diverse team to deliver a federal wage subsidy program that supported more than 18,000 students and 3,000 Canadian businesses. Luke is passionate about creating a culture of yes and, I agree with you, as well as encouraging the contributions from all members of his team. Luke believes diversity has a clear benefit that helps the collective succeed and the individual to grow.
Awesome. Thanks, Lily, for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. As Lily mentioned, I am a displaced hotelier and really excited to now be a part of Magnet. I've had the pleasure of being at Magnet for about a year now, and over the course of that time, my eyes have been opened wide in terms of the great work that is being done in this space, specifically by the likes of the folks that I share the stage with. Today, I'm going to do a brief introduction of just what Magnet is, play a little video for you just to sort of animate and tell a story, and hope to answer some questions or have some follow-ups with each of you. So as mentioned, Magnet is a digital platform. It was founded in Ryerson University at the Digital Media Zone, now known affectionately as the DMZ. And really, it's a social innovation platform. It's a technology. And we work with educational institution, governments, other trade associations, so BioTalent. We work a lot with BioTalent as well as we work with other employment service providers, so the likes of Acces. And really, we want to help support Canadians with inclusive growth in today's changing labor market. And really what the technology provides is the opportunity for diverse job seekers to connect with career opportunities that not only match their skills and experience, but also matches them with employers that are seeking out diverse talent. And really, we want to help make this connection through that digital infrastructure. We also know that no one organization can solve, obviously, these challenges that are being faced by job seekers in our labor market, but we hope to play an important role in the many partnerships that exist there. And really, we were built to support integrations from other technology platforms and partners to help share a common goal of removing barriers to employment and bolstering key industries. And I know firsthand, having spent 20 years in the tourism industry, just the importance that diversity really plays to help us optimally perform. Some of our partnerships include Outcome Campus Connect. This is a great tool that we developed in partnership with Orbis Communications and the federal government of Canada. And really what this does is it allows employers to connect with early talent within 110 different post-secondary institutions. And simply put, you can post one job posting and connect with various institutions across the country to help support that early talent development, but also to help your on-campus recruitment as it relates to that. On top of that, we mentioned a little bit about the Student Work Placement Program, a program that's really near and dear to my heart, and also to the other delivery partners that are out there, BioTalent being one of them, which I had the pleasure of working with quite a bit over the last year. And really, I was a work integrated learning student all those years ago. I don't know what we were calling it back then, but it was really a requirement for me to graduate and obtain my credential. And really proud to share that we connected 18,000 students with funding supports across all provinces in Canada, and connected and worked with over 3,000 employers. Specifically, we also worked with the healthcare system, mainly because of the acute need related to COVID-19. RBC is another really large partner that we work with, and we share our technology with, not only from supporting RBC with their on-campus recruitment and supporting their diversity goals, but also supporting their actual small and medium-sized business clients with specific tools around recruitment, learning, be it through a learning management system, or even just LMI data to help them support their business in the local region. We worked with them as well on the Student Work Placement Program, where we helped connect almost 3,000 students to RBC affiliated customers across various industries across all of Canada, and helped support early talent again and diverse talent, but also those businesses that needed some critical support at that time. And really, we want to help support workplaces that want to foster innovation, creativity, and support employee empowerment hiring, retention, and helping facilitate productivity and growth. And sort of these outcomes are really, we believe, done through increasing workplace diversity. Mainly, and I think we've heard it here today, you know, it obviously, having a diverse workplace, it really helps bring different perspectives, leads to better ideas. And through this inclusive workplace, it creates a knowledge hub, and creativity is brought together, and it helps us as individuals grow, but more importantly, the organization grow, and how it is we can better serve our internal customer, but also our external customers. McKinsey in 2019, I'm sure some of you have read this report. It's called Diversity Wins. It really spells out all those benefits of diversity and inclusion. And of the companies surveyed, those in the top quartile for gender parity actually outperformed than those in the bottom quartile. So from a profitability standpoint, excuse me. So you can see that from reports such as this, there is a real not only social benefit, but there's a benefit of performance to the actual businesses who embrace and support diversity and inclusion. And according to Harvard Business Review's 2018 Corporate Directors Survey, 95% of those directors agree that diversity brings unique perspectives to the workplace, with 84% said it enhances their actual board performance. So another really great and interesting data point. And so from, you know, job seekers that are underrepresented, it still is an untapped labor market, and it's crucial to Canada's prosperity looking forward, and it will really help us bridge the gap towards future opportunities. And according to Stats Canada, most recent labor force data, labor market participation rate for persons with disabilities is 55% compared to 84% with those without. So we have a lot of opportunity to do some great work in this regard. And Indigenous persons also see a lower rate of employment at 68%. So again, it starts today, and there's still lots of opportunity to do that. And we really hope that Magnet self-declaration tool helps enable businesses and job seekers from underrepresented groups, to connect with our tool. It is a free tool. You can share job postings that actually target job seekers on our platform. And when you create an actual job posting on Magnet, they can set preferences for experiences, skills, certifications, and more so that postings are only shared with job seekers who match their actual requirements. From a job seeker's perspective, you also have the opportunity to self-declare as a woman, persons with disabilities, Indigenous, newcomers to Canada, LGBTQ+, or a visible minority. And when an employer shares a job on Magnet, they can actually indicate their interest in hiring job seekers who have indicated that they belong to these particular groups, and then job seekers can obviously get connected to them. Now, I will say it's really, really important to note that employers won't actually see, and Magnet won't actually see, that a user has self-declared until the job seeker decides to share that with the employer. Important nuance with the technology. The real purpose to the self-declaration tool, it serves to channel opportunities to diverse users, and they can never be filtered out for a search as a result of this, which is a big education piece, because there is that hesitation at times from a job seeker perspective. So for some more background, I'll share a quick video, and we'll go from there.
Employers across Canada are looking for diverse talent because they want to reach an untapped labor market that can transform the culture of inclusivity within workplaces. They're looking to hire individuals with unique perspectives, experience, and knowledge. Our goal is to help those employers match with diverse talent and bring diverse talent to the forefront. When an employer shares a job on Magnet, they can indicate their interest in hiring job seekers who have indicated that they belong to these groups: newcomers to Canada, persons with disability, women, LGBTQ+, Indigenous, or visible minorities. This way, employers find the talent they're looking for, and job seekers create more possibilities when it comes to job notifications on Magnet. 3 reasons why you should self-declare. 1. When you self-declare, progressive employers who are looking for diverse talent have a way to make sure you see their job postings. 2. Your self-declaration also helps Magnet share information on funding, support programs, and learning opportunities that can help advance your career. 3. Employers aren't just looking for skills, but perspective and experience. Your identity and personal experience are assets you can bring to the workplace. Here's how it works. When creating your profile, you'll be asked to disclose if you identify as belonging to any of a series of groups. This step is optional. You can skip it and still have the option to return to it later. Once your profile is activated, you'll receive job invites and information on funding and support programs relevant to your career. When you include your self-declaration in your profile, Magnet protects your privacy. Your self-declaration is never visible to employers or to Magnet. Your profile only serves to make sure you receive alerts from employers who indicate in their job posting that they're interested in reaching members of a specific community. We're here to help. If you have questions about this feature or about creating your Magnet profile, please get in touch.
So again, building diversity, diverse teams is just one step towards an inclusive labor market, and businesses and industry leaders have to be at the forefront of bringing principles of equity and inclusion into their hiring practices and operations. And as a technology solution, we at Magnet strive to work with our partners across government, industry, post-secondary to help create tools and resources to enable these vital challenges. So thank you again for the opportunity to share a little bit more about Magnet. Pleasure to answer any questions during the Q&A, and look forward to having the opportunity to continue the conversation and discussion. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Luke. And again, just a reminder for all of our participants to send me any of your questions or keep them coming in the chat directly to me, Lily. And now our last presenter, it's my pleasure to introduce Keenan Sparks from the Indigenous Professionals Association of Canada, or IPAC. Keenan is a development assistant. Keenan is also an Afro-Indigenous of the Mi'kmaq Eastern Woodland Nation descent from Brampton, Ontario. He graduated from the marketing program at Humber College in 2014, and since then has embarked in a number of professions such as fundamental investing, day trading, insurance advising, personal training, and has recently branched into youth programming. Very, very impressive. Earlier this year, he served as the marketing and communications coordinator at the Mamawe Nujmata Let's Heal Together initiative, a nonprofit collective of Indigenous professionals providing 200 individual care packages for the youth on any of the 6 reserves within Manitoulin Island. He is now working as a development assistant, as I mentioned, for the Indigenous Professionals Association of Canada, which is IPAC, and it's an organization dedicated to advancing Indigenous leadership in the private, public, and social sectors. Again, I'm very happy to introduce Keenan and turn it over to our last presentation of this segment.
Thank you for that, Lily. Made me sound really good. Good morning, everybody. Really happy to be here and share some information on IPAC. I'm just going to share my screen. All right, so just to give a little more overview of myself and just what I do at IPAC. So I'm kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none at IPAC, helping out with everything, connecting with outside institutions in order to create partnerships and sponsorships, our social media marketing, mainly our Instagram and our LinkedIn, our job board postings, which I'll be going on more about later on in the slide. And then also our networking and supporting really anything my colleagues need as well, just because we have different programs such as our Pathways to Success or our, Recognizing Excellence, which I'll elaborate on more later. So IPAC stands for Indigenous Professional Association of Canada. as we said before. And so pretty much who we are is we're a member-based leadership-focused organization that connects, supports, and promotes outstanding leadership within the Indigenous professional community. Our mission, IPAC, is dedicated to advancing Indigenous leadership in the private, public, and social sectors. IPAC offers First Nations, Métis, and Inuit professionals the opportunity to connect, learn, and prosper as a community. Our vision, IPAC aims to foster, showcase world-class leadership within the Indigenous community from coast to coast to coast. So just kind of elaborate on that a little bit more. So our service model, IPAC serves its members through 3 different pillars. The first is skill building, providing opportunities for members to advance professional skill set and experiences. Network development, facilitating opportunities for members to connect with one another and other leadership circles. And our recognition of excellence, showcasing and supporting world-class leadership leaders within the Indigenous community. And we'll go on about that a little bit more after. So one of the programs that we have here is our youth program called Pathways to Success. So Pathways to Success is will leverage IPAC's current relationship with corporate Canada and industry professionals to create new opportunities for internship and summer work experiences for Indigenous youth ages 17 to 29. It's not just during the summer, actually it's pretty much year round. Right now we're really trying to focus on job creation, which is pretty much IPAC can fund an Indigenous youth pretty much in any organization for 16 weeks, 35 hours a week, up to $18. It's just a great incentive for employers, as well as small Indigenous businesses that need help with their employers' fees or employment fees. And then also the goal is to meet youth where they're at and help build their skill to be successful with their job opportunities now and in the future. This will be supporting by human resources, professional, mentor, peers, and culturally relevant supports as required. Supports will continue throughout the duration of the employment opportunity to bridge any gaps that may be present. So pretty much for the whole 16 weeks, we're going to be by your side, helping you through just if there's any issues with your training, you need help with that, or if you're stressed out, or just pretty much trying to make the whole process a lot more comfortable and a lot more enjoyable. And also our Pathways to Success coordinator for Ontario is William Sakura. I put his email there just in case anyone is interested in that and would like to reach out to him personally. I know he does a lot of the mentoring, as well as he has a few ambassadors that work with him. So just to give a little bit more about the Pathways to Success program. So we can help with multiple things: internship opportunities, full-time, part-time jobs, one-on-one mentoring, resume assistance. Revamping your resumes can make a whole world of difference, especially in the job market and how competitive it is nowadays. So we can definitely help with updating your resume, making it look better, and make sure that you really get really put on paper what you have experience with and what your skill set is. Also, interview prep. We all know interviews can be very nerve-wracking, very stressful. So we can just kind of go over the interview process with you and just how to carry yourself better and to get your point across while in the interview. Also interview outfits. So if you need help with suits or just something nice to wear for suits, dresses, or really anything that you need help with in terms of getting to prepare for your interview, we can also help support with that. So another aspect of IPAC is recognizing excellence. So as a part of the Indigenous Professional Association of Canada, founding pillars, recognizing excellence includes sharing success stories from Indigenous professionals and students across Canada. Role models are an important aspect of our community. At IPAC, we showcase amazing Indigenous professionals throughout our Recognizing Excellence program. So pretty much what that entails is we'll send a questionnaire about your professional journey, as well. You send us back a headshot and your social media handles. And then if you're chosen for this month, it's every month we have it. If you're chosen, then we'll put your picture as well as your social media handles and the answers to the questionnaire at the front of our, like on the main page of our website. It's a great way to show motivation for your community. Also, just it's a great way to market yourself as well. And we have really all ranges of professionals, everywhere from heavy machinery operators to software development to marketing to really anything. So just in terms of when we say professional, it's really professional at anything. It's not just office jobs or anything like that. It's professional at your craft. So the eligibility and criteria for our recognizing excellence. So it's open to all Indigenous peoples, First Nations, status and non-status, Métis or Inuit, currently residing in Canada. So the nominees must be existing members of IPAC. To sign up for IPAC, it takes about 5 minutes. We actually have two different member slots. We have our like our main IPAC membership, and then we have our Pathways to Success membership, which is for people between the ages of 17 and 29. But yeah, so must be an existing member of IPAC, either for Pathways to Success or our normal membership. Self-identifies as an Indigenous professional, demonstrates outstanding leadership within the Indigenous community in Canada, and employed, self-employed, full-time or part-time student and retired professionals are eligible. So another part of IPAC is our job board. So our job board really does have a wide range of, a wide range of opportunities. I personally post majority of our job board ads. So we really have anywhere from like PhD to entry-level positions, anywhere from general labor to office jobs to really everything. Also, it's we do post daily, almost daily, multiple posts usually. So there's always new opportunities to be had. It's a great way to help your resume stand out by applying on IPAC, as well as an easy application process. We also host events. We have a different sponsorship programs at IPAC, and just depending on what your company needs, it's just different packages. So we host various information sessions and networking events. We also have the IPAC Sharing Circle, which is Indigenous professional will come in and just really elaborate on their journey through their professional career, and also just the hardships, the good times, the bad times, and what it is specifically for an Indigenous professional. Well, for their experience. Also, we host information sessions for our sponsors. Usually it's done off of Zoom right now because the pandemic, but well, it's all done off Zoom right now, but hopefully we'll get back to in person. Yeah, thank you very much. I put all of I will put my contact information if anyone is interested. Also, that's our website there. And I really appreciate everyone having me here, and hope to answer any questions afterwards.
Great, thanks so much, Keenan. And just a note too, if you weren't able to grab any of the contact details when they were shared, we will be providing that at a later date. So no worries if you weren't quick on the grab there. So thank you again to all four of our speakers. We're going to kick off the panel discussion. So I am going to start with a question for Kristen. So the question we have for you is, what are the most common obstacles that your applicants typically face during the recruitment and hiring process? Specifically, perhaps providing us with an example of what accommodations RWA has to support them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, our individuals will face multiple barriers going through the application process, and those can really start even at the job posting. So sometimes, and I've personally experienced this working as a job coach, looking at job postings with individuals I've been working with. they'll see really specific requirements, you know, must have 2 to 3 years of experience, must have this type of education, and they exclude themselves automatically. They say, well, I don't have that experience, or yeah, I didn't finish high school yet, or I don't have a college degree. And so we talk to our employers and really get them to think about, you know, does this position really require the education, or would you consider equivalent experience? Do you really need that the experience, or would you consider certain candidate qualities? So we really try to get our employers to consider, what qualities do you look for in a person, and are you willing to invest in a person who has certain qualities, and take that time to teach them the role, to integrate them into your workplace. Because often these individuals do, if they feel supported in a workplace, they're going to stay and they're going to be loyal to that company. So it's definitely worth the investment. So we talk about, you know, any barriers that exist in the job application. We can talk, or the job posting, we can talk about barriers that exist in the interview process. So we talk about a lot of accommodations for interviews. So sometimes individuals can benefit from having the interview questions in advance. And, you know, some people might think, well, isn't that unfair for them to have the questions, you know, ahead of time? But it's not really, because for these individuals, having those questions ahead of time, it doesn't put them ahead of other people. It makes them on the same, like the same playing field as other people. It makes them equal to other people so that they have an equal shot of being successful at that role. Yeah, those are, I mean, those are kind of two specific examples. I'm happy to expand on those if anyone has any other questions, but yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that. All right, this next question is actually for you, Luke, on Magnet. Are there any stats available in terms of ratio of candidates on Magnet who have self-declared their status, I guess, regarding diversity?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do have that stat. It is much lower than we would like, because of the fear of that being a barrier. And I you know, I'll share some of the work I did firsthand in Regent Park with an organization with Pathways to Education, working with youth. Part of it was actually preparing them job interviews and you know, selling themselves and why it is they would be a great candidate. And one of the things, and it was quite disheartening, to be honest with you, and it showed sort of some of the work that needs to be done in the space. They were fearful of actually declaring that they were from Regent Park, and because of the stigma that might come from their postal code. And this actually was a real eye-opener to us. And so with respect to the stat, it is much lower than we would like. It is in and around the, you know, the 10 to 15%. And that being said, we work with service providers to talk about the many benefits of self-declaration, and that the only way we can break down the barriers and the stigma is to have these conversations with both job seekers but employers, and understanding that diversity of talent, thought, cultures, backgrounds is actually a benefit. And I think about you know, just sort of what Kristen said about you know, how to accommodate, or how is there a fit-based paradigm or a skills-based paradigm, and how those two can be taken into account to help support vulnerable job seekers, or job seekers who are facing these sort of barriers. So we work daily on the educational piece with our employers and with job seekers themselves, because there is a hesitation, and it's a natural hesitation. And I'm sure Cameron sees that, and Kristen sees that, and Keenan sees that with some of the folks they work with as well. So
Thanks, Luke. I actually, from the participant who asked that question, just wanted to, mention that I think the video that you showed was great, and in terms of educating the candidate market on the benefits that come from declaring. So it's a huge need in the market. So great to see that's happening. And I guess I'd like to turn it over to the other panelists, perhaps to comment, you know, again, because I think there's a shared thread there in terms of declaring. If anyone else would like to comment on this question from your organization's perspective. Cameron, I think you're on mute.
If I unmute myself, I can comment, right? Yeah. So what we work with participants on in that is many of our participants are from areas of the world where declarations are required specifically for discriminatory purposes, right? To declare your marital status, to declare your religion, your nationality, etc. And so really it is a large paradigm shift there on getting that shifted around. But the advice that I always give is, you know, anything that's going to give you any advantage in this labor market is something you want to take. So you've got that primary responsibility for yourself and your family, and getting them to understand that advantage is key. Big part of that is them hearing that directly from employers, and that's a reason why we involve employers so heavily in our programming and through mentoring and networking, because they don't want to hear that from an employment services provider. They want to hear that from someone who's hiring in the type of role that they're looking for.
For sharing. I want to switch over. Tina, we've got a question for you. And here the question is, does IPAC have plans to offer to employers a package that would auto wrap new employer opportunities rather than a per posting pay type of process?
So for our job board, our sponsorship kind of works how it's pretty much a company will come in and then they'll want to have certain events with IPAC, either it be just access to our job board, 2 or 3 postings a month, or it be having a networking event or information session on IPAC's website and through our connections. For individually, how we work is our job board, like it's open really to anybody, member or not, but the process will go a lot smoother with somebody who is a member of IPAC. But we don't have any sponsorship for individuals. It's just based on a company, like more so. But our Pathways to Success program is more like our individualistic sponsorship, just because it's a lot more one-on-one, and the way we do our mentoring is very individualistic. Just because there's no one way to really help. Like everyone's different in terms of their mentoring. They may need somebody who's really like on them, you know what I mean, like to get their stuff done, or maybe someone who just kind of like checks in with them every once in a while. But yeah, that's kind of how our sponsorship works. Hope that answered the question.
Okay, I'll monitor to see if there's a follow-up to that. And maybe you speak a little bit just in terms of, is there any financial support that IPAC provides?
Yeah. So with our Pathways to Success program, so how it works is once there's a job available, or if even in terms of job creation for maybe a small Indigenous company, they can hire somebody and then we'll reimburse them for $18 an hour, 35 hours a week for 16 weeks. Also, for every member in the Pathway Success program, they're giving up to $1,000 for just if they need a new computer, or if they need a suit, a dress, even if they need help with a bus ticket getting to work, stuff like that. So that's kind of the financial side that we support.
Thanks. And actually, a question then over to you, Cameron, is maybe if you speak a little bit, are there wage and training subsidies available through your training program that are offered?
No, so through many of the services that we offer, we're able to tie into Government of Ontario provincial initiatives in job mentoring and placement incentives. So what those typically will involve is a little bit of upfront work in looking at the placement, making sure it's an appropriate workplace, that it's safe, etc. And then what we're able to do then is within the parameters of that incentive package to be able to subsidize the first section of employment that you would have with an individual according to certain kind of categories that those individuals meet. So typically the higher the barriers faced by an individual in getting into the labor market, the more the government of Ontario is willing to provide financial incentives to organizations to work with that individual.
Thank you for that. All right, I'm going to switch to slightly different topic. This one is back to you, Luke. You mentioned you connect employers to talent from many educational institutions. Does that include institutions across the country, including remote areas such as up north, for example, Northern Ontario School of Medicine?
So it's 110 different institutions that we're connected with. In terms of the Ontario School of Medicine, I am not entirely sure, but I would love to make reference to my list. I don't have all 110 memorized at this time, but I would love to follow up with that particular institution in question. But essentially, it's an ongoing process in terms of connecting those schools. So we're working with the co-ops departments and the work experiential departments to create this network effect to help employers connect with early talent. Now, the interesting thing is it's been quite fragmented across the country, and the federal government has helped support the creating of this infrastructure, and Magnet and Orbis Communications have been working together to tie the system together. And so there's a great deal of opportunity in terms of educating both industry about the system, that it actually does exist now, because it is quite new. Outcome Campus Connect is a product, but it is also getting students and the institutions informed in the many benefits to industry. I'll just share anecdotally, having spent 20 years in industry, I went on lots of campus recruitment tours to help support our early talent. And if you could imagine in an economy that's perhaps contracting, or you're not unable to travel, how is it that you can now find productivity and utilize a tool to connect with early talent with one click of a button and a job posting across 110 institutions? And I think this is sort of an interesting opportunity for industry to be the voice of how a tool like this helps support their recruitment practices, finding productivity, but also not replacing relationships. Relationships will always exist, as we know. It's like it's how we thrive and grow and share ideas and innovate. But how is it that we can do things a little bit differently? We're disrupting the marketplace, if you can imagine, a little bit with this particular tool, but I think it's because we see a need within it. So, but again, happy to research that exact school. I can do it in about 30 seconds once I get off, but would be happy to share.
All right, well, we'll take that as a follow-up. Kristen, actually a question that comes up for you, which is, what should I tell supervisors who will be working directly with an individual with a disability? Maybe you could kind of talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. And so what I like to emphasize is that, it's not necessarily, say, the HR recruiter's place to disclose a disability on behalf of the individual, because that's always up to the individual. And they're not legally obligated to disclose a specific diagnosis, whether it be autism, intellectual disability, or maybe they, have something else as well. What I ask the recruiters to focus on is, what are the accommodations that are going to need to be put in place? And so we really also try to support the community agencies working with the individual to ensure that they're setting up a meeting with the direct supervisor, if the individual needs that support, to advocate for their accommodations, to, help tell the supervisor, what are the potential challenges this person has, but then what are the accommodations that can be put in place for this individual? Because again, if you find out that somebody has autism or intellectual disability, that doesn't really tell you a lot, because these populations are extremely diverse in their abilities and their interests and their challenges. So what's more important is focusing on the individual's specific challenges, their strengths, and then what is going to be best to support them. So again, to conclude, it's not necessarily the HR recruiter's place to disclose on behalf of the individual, but more focus on what can the supervisor do to provide that support.
Appreciate that. Yeah, interesting that you do get that question a lot, but I thank you for sharing with us your perspective on that. Keenan, we've got a question for you. Just looking at things from an employer lens, can you maybe expand upon kind of the key differentiators for IPAC from other similar organizations?
So I know there's quite a few Indigenous supports for, I guess, professionalism. Ms. Waybeek is one as well. But IPAC, so what I really like about our Pathways to Success program and our youth program specifically is that it's very tailored to the individual. Just in terms of, especially like our mentoring and how we interact with them. It's very much like we're here to support. We're here to help with anything, but we don't want to be super down someone's throat unless that's really what they want. Some people need, a little bit more of a I guess motivator, as well as really just how diverse we are in terms of let's say employment, just because we really don't what's the word, concentrate on just one specific I guess sector of professionalism. It's really everything, and also as well as just like what's the word? Sorry, I kind of think here this morning, but just as well as just like how we really just interact with our members as well is really unique. Like I've done work with Mamaway Nojmada as well, and I really like how IPAC really, like, it's really just about supporting our community. It's not about really anything else other than making sure that Indigenous individuals are supported and can have more of a leadership and a better career.
Thank you. All right, we're down to the last questions, and I guess this one, Cameron, is for you. Just maybe speaking a little bit more around ways that Acces Employment can support hiring events and attracting that larger pool of diverse talent.
Yeah. So over the last, we switched really quickly from our in-person model of hiring events into obviously virtual hiring events last year. We were able to do that because we had a large online services department, as well as services, as I mentioned, that serve individuals prior to arriving in Canada, and those would have to be virtual. So we use a variety of platforms to do that, depending upon the size of the event and the need of the employer. So for more informal events, we often use a platform called Hop-In, where you can jump in and out of things easily and get involved and make connections with people within that. For medium-sized events, we use Zoom, and we work breakout rooms, and we use a lot of moderators on that. It's resource intensive because it requires a lot of back-end support. And then for larger events, we use a really cool platform called Brazen. That is an online job fair and networking event. And we found great success with those, and being able to really tailor the type of event to the, tailor the platform used for the event to the size of the event and the needs of the employer. Because obviously you need different functionalities at different sizes. When we're connecting with 200 people about 30 different opportunities, we obviously need a different tool than doing some networking with 10 or 20 people. One of the things, though, that we really work on in all of the employment events that we do is we don't really work in a job fair type of model where we've got 20 booths and people kind of wandering around and just asking questions. We really work on employment events where you as an employer have identified positions that are important to you. We've pre-screened individuals who who believe would be a good qualification, well qualified for those. And we do that pre-screening in partnership with the employer to make sure that we're really triangulating down on the skills and experience that are needed for that job at that time. As many of you know, the process of writing job postings and job descriptions is sometimes a long and torturous one. It doesn't always capture everything that we really need. So we work really closely with you on defining that, and then getting a pool of people in front of you that are going to be good candidates for those positions. Because with everything going on right now, nobody has a lot of time to kind of sit at a booth and have 200 random people come up to you asking questions that may or not, connect to the posting that you're trying to fill. So I think that's what we do. We try and use the right platform. We engage really heavily with the employer prior to the event, because we want that time to be highly effective and highly efficient and produce the outcomes that you're looking for.
I'm going to put out one last reminder to post any final questions you have for our panel in the chat. And then one more question for you, Luke. There's just a question here around, are there any other ways that the Magnet platform can engage diverse job seekers? Is there anything, I guess, you want to elaborate on in terms of what was presented today, in terms of what that looks like as a process?
Yeah, absolutely. So we support other initiatives. Working with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, they have an initiative called DAN, specifically helping to support peoples with disabilities. And through that network, again, it's powered through our technology, but also that instance of Magnet. There are configurations helping support persons with disabilities specifically. And I look at the panel, Cameron. I know Magnet has worked with Acces on various projects. Given that we're in the space from a technology standpoint, we have partnerships and different programs supporting different programs that are geared towards either newcomers or individuals facing barriers. We are really about innovation. So what ends up happening, we have some different projects. Align is one of the projects that we worked with IRCC, as well as ESDC, to help support Syrian refugees is really where it came out of, to help support fit-based roles around personas that would help employers engage talent that perhaps didn't check the boxes on a credential, but really had the right attitude, purpose, skill set that was transferable. And I think of the purpose piece. You can teach people a lot of technical skills often, but you can't teach them to care. And I think that's one of the important things that came out of the Align project itself. So and the interesting thing too, there is a lot of programming that is being invested in by our federal government and our provincial governments around diversity and inclusion. And so there's future opportunities always at Magnet that we're partnering with various organizations on for industry to connect with. That's just a few. Dan and Align are two of the other programs we have. And again, would love to have the opportunity to speak one-on-one and really explore just the great work that ourselves are doing in partnership with a lot of these other panelists that we're it's an ecosystem and exists, and how it is we can support industry to connect with it, learn more about it, because there's a lot really that you can do. So.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of our questions. But before we officially wrap up, I did want to allow the panelists an opportunity to, share any last comments with our participants on your organization. If there was anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap up today's session. So, or even just, key takeaway from today? Let's start. I'm looking around my screen. Kristen, I'm going to go to you first.
I think just thanks again for having me, and thank you to all the attendees for, listening to me speak about RWA and listening to all the other panelists. And I just want to emphasize that, a lot of the support that our individuals may need can really vary, and most accommodations are free and pretty simple to implement in the workplace. And also any kind of bigger changes that you may make to your application process, to your interview process or onboarding will not only benefit the individuals that we support who are on the autism spectrum or who have intellectual disability, but will really benefit other people who may or may not have particular disabilities, because you're making it more inclusive for, the population as a whole, which in turn will make it more likely that you'll have candidates who will be successful for your postings. So yeah, thanks again for having me. And it was, again, an honor to be a part of this and be alongside the amazing panelists that we have. Thanks.
Thanks, Kristen. Keenan, how about some final thoughts from you?
Also, I want to say really thank you for having me, and really happy to be able to share some of the support that IPAC is able to give, and really hope anyone that's Indigenous looking for some support will sign up. If you have a friend that's Indigenous and looking for support to sign up, membership is completely free, and we're here to help, and we really hope to see more people signed up from this. Thank you.
Luke, closing thoughts from your side?
Yeah, thanks, Lily. So Laurentian and Lakehead are a part of the network. NOSM, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have to follow up if they have a dedicated job board, so stay tuned. I would just like to thank everyone for attending and my fellow panelists. I think the one thing that I've learned through the course of my time at Magnet, coming from industry, is that there's a great ecosystem in Canada to support this type of work. And I think it's a unique opportunity to engage with that ecosystem, to engage with the people that are doing this work daily, to support the inclusion and of everyone and the many benefits that they bring. And we are just one small piece of that from a technology standpoint. And we have a real privilege of working with a lot of great groups doing a lot of great work. And I think at times it's overwhelming how big the ecosystem is out there from an industry point of view. But certainly it's worth engaging, and it's important work because there are true benefits to your company culture and ultimately to society. And how it is, the many benefits to find meaningful employment, to be able to have a forum to exchange ideas and collaborate and work together to help, the culture of a company, but also the culture of the community that they actually reside in. So I'll leave it at that.
Good words to leave us with. And Cameron?
Thank you, Lily. And thank you, everybody, for having me. It's great to share this space with you today. Just wanted to let you all know that it's really heartening to see the work that you guys are doing in this initiative. And we know that things are not easy to find people right now. We know that because I think we're hiring for 30 some positions right now. So it's there's a lot going on out there in the labor market. So we would love to be able to support you. I take very seriously the fact that the government of Ontario and the government of Canada has entrusted us with, performing the service that supports you as employers and that supports individuals. Because if everything worked perfectly out there and there are no frictions in this system, everybody would just find the place they could best contribute, and everybody would be so much better off than we are right now. But unfortunately, it's really sticky out there, and it's hard to find the right place, right, and the right fit, and the right people at the right time. So we can play an important role in your talent acquisition channels, in getting out there and meeting new people and connecting with people and helping you perform some of those really vital functions that you have. So if you are interested, I'd really highly encourage you to follow up with us and to take part in those services and make us do the work that we're getting paid for with all of our taxpayer dollars to do. and we'll all be much better off for it.
All right, well then, I just want to extend one more big thank you to all of our speakers for sharing your insights, your commentary, responding to questions on the fly in this panel discussion. And also thank you to our participants for your engagement and your commitment to change. Our goal is to assist in the identification of new recruitment channels, programs, services to support diversity and inclusion in your workplace. And I feel really confident today was a positive step towards that goal. So thank you to everyone. And then a final reminder that next week on November 17th, we'll be continuing the discussion with 5 new organizations, and we will also be following up with all attendees after the 17th event with contact information and resources from all of our presenting organizations. So thank you, and with that, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.